Hey there, trigger-happy Guardians! I am Blunty, and this is the Destiny beta on the PS4 and also the Xbox One. The Xbox One version, of course, having finally launched. In this video, you're going to see gameplay from just the first 3 story missions and a little bit of the level 4 explore mode, so there's nothing too spoilery in here if you've not played the beta yet or are waiting for the full game. Now, I strongly suspect there'll be a plethora of videos comparing these two thrown up on YouTube, but I, personally, do tend to attract a wider demographic in my audience than many channels who specialise in just gameplay and nothing but gameplay, so I figured it'd be worth me doing it anyway. And I did have a large bag of requests from you guys to do it, so I'm going to kick it Blunty style and get it done.
We won't survive long out in the open like this. Let's get inside the walls.
Now then, some details before we jump into the breaking down of it all. I started new characters for both gameplay recordings, Warlocks in this case, which, if I'm honest, is my bottom preference for character class in this particular game. Maybe sometime in the future I'll do a separate video about why that is, but for now I chose it because I didn't mind deleting my Warlock I'd already created on the PS4 version so that I could start with a fresh character. Also, the Warlock gets a sniper rifle the earliest in the game, and I love me some sniper rifles much more than I like me some shotguns. Anyway, I tried to play in the same style, get similar views, I picked the same weapons and the same paths through the levels as much as possible, so hopefully things should match up roughly evenly to give you a fair chance to compare apples to apples, as it were. I even made the character look exactly the same in both versions so we can compare the story mode cutscenes. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about the graphical differences or pick apart the shadow detail or the way that one texture over there on the wall seems slightly cleaner than this one on that system, or the particle effects on the other system are more plentiful than they are here, or the lighting is blah 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 blah. Look. You regular viewers will know that I am not much on that pissant, nitpicky fanboy argument bullcrap, either having them or deliberately starting them. When it comes to video games, in fact when it comes to anything I review, whether it be the cameras or anything else, I'm all about the experience, not the back of the box details that may or may not actually make a difference when you're out in the world using the thing. So, this is all about my perspective from playing the game, the gameplay. And besides, this is the beta. It's not necessarily 100% representative of what the game will look like once it's shipped. And yes, I know, the PS4 is rendering at 1080p, and the Xbone is quote-unquote just 900p, upresed to 1080 for output. And yes, you can easily tell the difference. Maybe not here on YouTube that easily, but with a direct signal to a nice big TV, yeah, it is easy to spot the difference. Really easy.
Will it fly?
I can make it work. Okay, it's not going to break orbit. It just might get us to the city. Now, about that transmat. Bringing you in.
Bungie are already on record as saying that with Microsoft's help and the latest APIs the Xbox team unleashed, you know, the ones that shit-canned the 10% processor hog that was reserved for the Kinect. Anyway, they say they've already got a build running at 1080p just fine, and that is what the final retail release will run at.
Welcome to the last safe city on Earth. The only place the Traveler can still protect. It took centuries to build. Now, we're counting every day it stands. And this tower is where the Guardians live.
And for the record, on the way I captured these things, I captured both the PS4 and the Xbone gameplay using the same capture device with identical settings. Both were captured at the native 1080p output, 30 frames per second. The gamma was set at identical levels on both machines, and everything in every other corner was equalized and matched wherever possible. So aside from all of that, yeah, of course, there are some little visual differences here and there. These are two different machines running the same game, and you have to customize the code one way or the other to get it run properly. It's just how things work. But aside from the exclusive DLC content that the PS4 has locked in for the first year, if I only had an Xbox One, and if it was my only choice for playing the game because I couldn't afford to get a PS4 or whatnot, I wouldn't even be remotely unhappy with the way it looks, or more importantly, the way it plays. Oh, and FYI, I should mention this, there is a day-night cycle in this game, so in some instances, the lighting in the comparative footage, in outside maps particularly, may look a bit different depending on what time of day the game decided it is. I have no control over that, I'm afraid.
It's in the walls! In the walls!
So, if you want to quibble about which version looks better, go ahead, I've got no real problem with that discussion, but please keep it civil and stick to simple, demonstrable facts. Feel free to call out the time indexes on stuff you're comparing and talking about so others can check out the specifics of your comments too. And be warned, I will be wielding the ban hammer for any fantard D-bags who can't keep themselves under control. So play nice, or else. Now then, to me, the most important part is, of course, how it feels, how it plays, the responsiveness, the control, the ability to embed lots and lots of bullets and grenade shrapnel into evil alien invaders' asses as enjoyably as possible. And on that score, between the two versions, honestly, they really do feel all but identical.
You just killed an Archon. This could cripple the Fallen. And we got a warp drive. I have to get you to the speaker.
I will say this, however, and this is just reinforcing my opinion from about a year ago when I first got some proper pre-launch hands-on time with both systems. The PS4's DualShock 4 controller is, to me, easily the superior experience. Last generation, I verged on hating the DualShock 3, and I adored the Xbox 360 pad, so I played just about everything I could on the Xbox. This time around though, the Xbox One controller is still very, very good. It's just not as good as the PS4's. The PS4's is better, in my humble opinion. This will of course be an entirely personal thing, and there is no wrong answer. I can only tell you how it feels to me, and to me, the Xbone feels a bit twitchier. I feel like I've got slightly less fine control. I'm not sure how well the footage I captured for this video will show that, but I felt as if I was scoring noticeably more headshots with the PlayStation 4, and sniping felt easier too. Maybe that's because I've had more time with the beta on the PS4, because of course it did launch several days before the Xbox has got a bash at it. But I did spend a fistful of hours on the Xbox version before I even captured a single minute of this footage, so I could get a better feel for it. But in the end I still came up with the same opinion.
Up the hill. The building with the radar. That's the Skywatch.
Both systems though ran very smoothly. Now Bungie are always pretty damn good about making things look just effortless, of course. But I saw no chugging, no weird texture pops, no lighting goofiness or any of that other gameplay inconsequential but potentially distracting minor glitch type thingies. Load times, that's a bit trickier to quantify actually, because this is one of their newfangled always online games, and even in single player mode you're connected to the shared world, so load times are not just how long it takes to spool the level information, maps and textures and all that kind of stuff off the disk. It can also be affected by how quickly stuff gets pulled down from the servers, how quickly you get the connection and the like. But in any case, I saw no significant differences one way or the other on that score. I don't think I put any actual loading sequences in the footage you're seeing here, but I did do some side-by-side comparison of the loading screens that I did happen to record, and there was practically no difference on average. So, on balance, being as impartial and fair as possible, Bungie absolutely delivered on their promise of delivering the same experience on either new-gen console. There are minor differences, of course, none of which I would consider to have any effect on gameplay at all, and are only matters of curiosity worth discussing when you're doing exactly this kind of thing, looking at them side by side. So with the exception of the exclusive bonus content that the PS4 players get, I see no reason why anyone playing on an Xbox One would have anything remotely close to an inferior experience to complain about.
What is this? Lots of motion ahead. I've got a bad feeling about this.
As for me, personally, I'm sticking with my PlayStation 4 pre-order. Not for any other reason other than I prefer the controller. I'd like to get that exclusive content too, of course, and frankly I'm spending more time on the PlayStation 4 than I am on the Xbox One these days anyway, so I may as well stick with it here too. So, that's it. Make your own call. You've had plenty of footage to look at and take a peek at and pause if you feel like it and squint and feel free to tell us which way you're going and why in a comment, but remember, play nice or I'm going to cave your skull in with the ban hammer.
There's a wizard here. You have to kill it.
Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I needed to have a chat about and comment on. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty. Hope you found this useful, or at least interesting. And I will catch you next time. But for now, I think I'll trail away with some more gameplay for you to look at without my voice in your ear.
The wizard's here. The wizard's here. All right, this time we go wherever we want. Nothing holding us back. Guardians have been planting beacons here to connect back to the tower. If we find them, we can help the city. I'm already detecting a few.